2022 F1 season began after the first race in Bahrain last weekend, and we go straight into the second race of the season, this time at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix, which debuted last year with a chaotic duel between Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen, and this year a duel between Charles Leclerc and Max Verstappen could be on the cards. There was still a lot of criticism of racing in Saudi Arabia because of the human rights violated in the country, but the race in Saudi Arabia will be held on the Jeddah Corniche circuit. The goal of the organisation was to have the fastest street circuit on the calendar, finding a mix between Monaco and Baku. The circuit is very tight corners, but the speed never drops to very low speeds due to the angle of the corners. In the simulation F1 car, the circuit proved to be the fastest on the calendar with an average speed of 250 kilometres per hour. The circuit, like so many circuits on the F1 calendar, was designed by Herman Tilke, F1's in-house architect, who was brought in again to design a car and came up with a street circuit which is 6,174 metres long and has 27 turns. The circuit is lined with floodlights so drivers race in the dark. Nevertheless, Tilke's design was also criticised as a combination of high-speed blind corners and a narrow track caused particularly high risk of huge crashes. In 2021, the damage was not too bad. There were some moments which definitely could have turned out differently. It remains to be seen whether the plan changes will improve on this for this year. As mentioned, that there has only really been one Grand Prix of Saudi Arabia, and it wasn't that long ago. It was first held in December 2021, just a few months back, as the second to last race in the F1 calendar. The title between Hamilton and Verstappen could have been decided for the first time at this circuit, but in the end it was a decisive race at Abu Dhabi. On the fast street circuit, qualifying was especially impressive, and Verstappen seemed to be on his way to pole and fast full lap. However, the Dutchman made a mistake in the last corner and hit the wall. As a result, he started behind both the Mercedes from P3. However, it did not provide less spectacle. Pit stops by Mercedes during a virtual safety car gave Verstappen a lead when the virtual safety car proved not enough to clean up the damage and a red flag was raised. Verstappen could grab new tyres and started from Hull. However, he got off to a bad start, breaking 2 Gs and pushing Hamilton wide. Another crash brought another restart, and Red Bull accepted Michael Massey's offer to start from P3. The way Verstappen's action did not need to be investigated and simply gave the spot back. In the first corner of the restart, however, Verstappen was extremely eager to take that lead. Hamilton proved to have more pace throughout though and caught up with the Red Bull driver again. Verstappen did everything to keep Lewis behind him, but was punished for this when he wanted to let Hamilton pass. The Brit crashed into Verstappen. They could continue their way, but for this Max got a penalty after the race. Hamilton later passed Verstappen and won the race anyway. 2022 F1 season is just one race old, and so we cannot state yet what teams look good at what circuits. However, after the Bahrain Grand Prix, it's clear Ferrari and Red Bull currently have the best cars. Charles Leclerc and Max Verstappen fought for pole and victory in Bahrain, only for Red Bull to end up with 0 points. Red Bull was fast, but saw both drivers drop out with a similar problem. Red Bull hasn't revealed what the problem is, but it's clear that it has been solved ahead of this race. Mercedes is lagging behind the top 2 teams, but Mercedes wouldn't be Mercedes if they didn't do everything possible. A week may be too short a time, but it's highly believed that in the next 2 to 3 weeks their problems will be solved and they'll be up with the big teams. Yeah, I can't wait to see them free fighting. Just like in Bahrain, you don't have to worry about the weather conditions in Saudi Arabia. There is a lot of wind on Friday and Saturday, but that wind will decrease considerably before the day of the Grand Prix. The teams and drivers should also take into account the rising temperature throughout the weekend. On Friday, according to weather.com, 27 degrees, Saturday 29, and Sunday it could be as high as 32 degrees. After the Bahrain GP, you can't ignore Ferrari. The team clubs, with some luck, admitted they were 1-2 and dominated the whole weekend. Red Bull was close, but the first win since 2019 will give the Italian team a lot of confidence. Besides, Ferrari were already very good on street circuits in 2021. Red Bull will be close again. The Dutchman will be lightning fast in qualifying here in 2021 until the last lap, of course. If he can match it, then there might be more in it for the Dutchman. However, the most important factor in Saudi Arabia is also luck. Accident is a small corner on this circuit, and if you're not the wall, a safety car or red flag could come at exactly the wrong time. The surprise of this circuit can never be ruled out. And before I go, let me run you through the timetable for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix in UK time. So first free practice 2 till 3, second free practice 5 till 6 on a Friday, and on Saturday you got 2 till 3 and 5 till 6, and the race gets underway at 6 PM UK time for the second race of the season. Away from the track on Thursday and Friday, the main story obviously in the paddock was the blast we seen in the Aramco site at Jeddah. obviously this is a developing situation, so I tried to leave it as long as possible before uploading this to get the latest updates. But as it stands, it seems like Stefano Domenicali, Mohamed Ben Sulayem all seem pretty insistent that the race will go ahead as planned. And to be honest, I fully expect that to happen. The drivers are currently having a meeting as I speak, but yeah, personally I wouldn't expect to see any changes. Moving on then to the actual on-track action, and starting off with practice 1, and yeah, it was Charles Leclerc for Ferrari who was fastest, Max Verstappen in second, and Valtteri Bottas in the Alfa Romeo in third. Great to see him up there. And yeah, like you normally say with places in the afternoon for a night race, you can't really read too much into it, but great to see Valtteri up there. And yeah, just for the other top two, really just going through different programs. I think we saw a lot of that in practice 1 today. Moving on to practice 2, obviously a far more representative session with the times, and that was Charles Leclerc fastest for Ferrari, and Max Verstappen in second, Carlos Sainz in third, and yeah, kind of the order we're getting used to seeing now. But yeah, Sainz and Leclerc actually both hit the wall on one of their qualifying laps, meaning that they didn't get any race runs. But Max Verstappen also didn't get a clean run in on a quali run. So yeah, kind of two teams with major disadvantages at the moment. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out over the weekend because it looks close again. And before I go, my predictions for this weekend, starting off with the pole sitter, I'm going to say Max Verstappen. I mean, it's got to be Max, hasn't it? I'm sure he's going to make up for that mistake at the end of qualifying last year and put it on pole, and I'm going to back him to pick up the victory as well in what could very much be a chaotic race. In second, I'm going to go for Carlos Sainz. Yeah, I kind of feel like he's kind of been written off a bit over last week in saying Verstappen Leclerc. People forget how good he is, and I think he's going to prove some people wrong by beating Leclerc this week, who will come home in third. And yeah, I think Mercedes still 5 and 6 behind Perez if the race, if everything goes smoothly, which in Jeddah, let's face it, is highly unlikely. But between Australia and Imola, that's when we could really see Mercedes getting the mix, and it could become really exciting. Hey guys, that's the video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, know your thoughts, comments down below. Follow on to the link description for more F1 news, and subscribe to my channel on the screen. That would be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace.